What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And in this video, we're going to go over the newest recent stimulus check news. And also, I want to wish anybody dealing with these fires, I wish you guys safety. Let me know how it's going out there if you're currently dealing with these fires. There is now over 10 different states that are on fire and over 100 different rampant fires that they can't put out yet. It's crazy how much you can see on this map here, how much of the United States is on fire. It looks like almost a third of the United States now has fires in different areas. California looks like almost the entire state is on fire, and it has been very bad for a lot of people. This is the air quality sensors, and anything in the purple is actually hazardous, considered hazardous levels of pollution. So it looks like an absolute crazy scenario over there. Let me know how you guys are doing if you're currently dealing with that situation over there in one of those states. Okay, on to stimulus check news. There is current rumblings, current talk that they might try to lump in stimulus checks or unemployment. We don't know the full details on this yet, into the talks for the government shutdown. At last talks, maybe about a week or so ago, we had heard that Nancy Pelosi, the leader of the Democrats in the House, and Treasury Secretary Mark Mnuchin had come to a verbal agreement. Last week, Nancy Pelosi and both Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin were reporting that they had a verbal agreement to prevent a government shutdown that will happen on October 1st if they don't come to an agreement before the deadline on September 30th. As you can see here, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said Sunday that he and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi have agreed to work on a short-term spending bill to avert a government shutdown on October 1st, weeks before the election. He says the Speaker and I have agreed we don't want to see a government shutdown, and that his expectation is that they are agreeing to a continuing resolution that would extend the government funding short term into December, where they would have to actually come out with an actual bill to fund the government for the rest of the year. Well, it looks like they now might be trying to lump stimulus into that package. I will keep you guys updated on this new breaking news story comes out. I do think it actually would be a good opportunity for them to put stimulus in there, because if we've learned anything about Congress, it's that they like to lump things in with bills. They don't like to just, for some reason, just pass a stimulus check or just pass an unemployment extension. They want to pass 2 or 3 or 4 other things in with it. So if they do end up passing either a short-term or for the whole year government shutdown prevention bill, a funding bill to fund the government, this is a good opportunity for them to actually add stimulus checks or unemployment extension in with that bill, because that's just how Congress, that's what they do. Like, they're like, hey, why would we just spend $1 billion when we could spend $100 billion? Or why would we spend $1 trillion when we could spend $2 trillion? So it's just like, it actually reminds me of a quote from one of my favorite movies, the movie Contact, with Jodie Foster. It's a really good movie back from the 90s. Let me know if you've seen it down below in the comments. But H.R. Haddon, in the character in the movie, says to Jodie Foster, he says, the first rule in government spending, why build one when you could build two at twice the price? And it's so true that that's how the government works. Why spend 1 trillion when we could spend 2 trillion at twice the price? Let's just put more things in the bill. So it does seem like this is a possibility of what they could be doing going forward with the government shutdown bill, because why pass just a government shutdown bill when they could double it up and spend twice the amount of money, knowing that they need to pass a bill to prevent the government from shutting down? Also, White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow has been very busy in the last 24 hours, giving several different interviews in which he says the president is still absolutely for wanting to send out stimulus checks, before the election. And then he also wants to pass an unemployment extension before the election, also, and that this is one of their top priorities. He also says that the president is willing to negotiate with the Democrats and make a deal. It's just that he wants to keep what he calls guardrails on the amount of money that the Democrats want to spend on states and cities. And basically, he's saying that he's willing to make a deal for the stimulus package, the larger stimulus package, but basically, he just doesn't want to spend $1 trillion on states and cities, and they just want to curb that down a little bit. Nancy Pelosi wants $2.2 trillion. The White House said that they're willing to do 1.3 to 1.5. I think the closer we get to the election, the closer they'll be willing to come up to that $2.2 trillion or $2 trillion price tag. And honestly, the president might just end up doing this because as you guys have told me in the comments, it's not like it's spending their money. It's not the president's money or the Republicans' money. It's the people's money or the government's money. So all the president needs to do is just say, okay, you know what? Just agree to the $2 trillion or 2.2 trillion, or just say, hey, we'll do 2 trillion. All he needs to do is say, okay, you know what? Let's just do it at 2 trillion, and then boom, we'd have a deal, and then we'd have the House and the Senate passing it within 24 hours, and it would be on the president's desk within the next morning or two. So when that happens, it'll be very fast. So all the president needs to do is say, you know what, I've decided for America that we need to do this and we need to do this now. So I'm willing to agree to the amount of money that the Democrats want. Or he could do it through the presidential executive order, which he talked about, that there's $300 billion sitting in a fund from the first stimulus package that hasn't been spent, and that he wants to send it for stimulus checks. And if the Congress can't agree, then he will try to pass that through a presidential executive order. The president's disapproval rating has actually jumped by as much as 10% as of recently, as you can see up here in this top graph. So as we get closer to the election, he really needs to pass more stimulus and unemployment extension to basically improve his odds of winning and to gain him millions more votes. As you can see here in some of the newest presidential polls, Joe Biden is still leading in most areas by a little bit, but the margins are pretty slim in a lot of places, with as much as 2% in some polling. As you can see right now in this graph, if the polls were correct and the actual vote happened today, that Joe Biden would win, and you can see the different states here in which states Joe Biden would win and which states Donald Trump would win, and which states are a toss-up or are leaning a specific way here. So you do see that Joe Biden does have a lead, at least based on the polls. A lot of Trump supporters would tell you that the polls didn't matter much the first time around because they showed President Donald Trump not winning, and he did actually end up winning in the end. So it will be curious to see if that does come around. But you know, with the president seeing results like this, it is going to make him a little more anxious to try to do everything he can to kind of muster up as many votes as he can to make his chances of winning higher. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Would you change your vote and vote for President Donald Trump for re-election if he were to pass another stimulus check before the election, or would it not change your vote at all? Let us know down below in the comments. I know that a lot of people are curious to read and see what the majority of people are saying. Also, I want to let you know that mail-in voting and also in-person voting early has already started or will be starting in a lot of states. As you can see in this graph, that some mail-in voting or absentee voting have already started, and in-person voting or early in-person voting starts as early as in 2 days from now in Pennsylvania, and several more states within the next few days. So again, this left column is when you can start mail-in voting, and there's going to be a lot of states starting within the next 7 days, and early in-person voting starting also within the next 7 days in some states. I'll scroll down here so you can see when your state is starting. Left side column is for mail-in voting, and as you can see, it pretty much ends around October 15th for most states because they need time to get that in through the mail and also process the voting. And mail-in voting, I'm sorry, the early in-person voting is, basically going until the end of October. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you haven't yet. I will keep you guys updated with current up-to-date stimulus check news, unemployment extension news, and some election news as we get closer to the election. And don't forget to hit the like button or the thumbs up button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. And you can click on these videos to watch my newest stimulus check videos next. And this video teaches you how to start a business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.